January 6th, Donald Trump lit a fire in this country.
140 officers were injured. The siege lasted for 7 hours.
Stoking the flames of division and hate. Now he's pouring gasoline.
They were unbelievable patriots.
Pledging to pardon the extremists who tried to overthrow our government.
We will give them pardons.
Inciting them to try again. There is nothing more sacred than our democracy. But Donald Trump's ready to burn it all down.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
As you can tell from that campaign ad from the Biden camp, Joe Biden is hoping that he can win the presidential election by portraying Donald Trump as a grave threat to our democracy. But that strategy seems to be left in tatters after a genuinely stunning new poll finds that voters in key swing states think that democracy is actually under more danger under a Biden term, a second Biden term. So look, there are a lot of caveats here, so just hold on as I get through all the details. But the poll conducted by the Washington Post and Schar School surveyed voters across 6 swing states and identified a subgroup, this is important, a subgroup of respondents labeled as deciders. It found that 38% of deciders said that Trump would do a better job of handling threats of democracy or to democracy, while 29% said that Biden and 23% said neither. Said that Biden would be a threat, and the 23% in the poll said neither. So in other words, a higher percentage of this subgroup feel that Biden is a bigger threat than Trump to our democratic process, to our democracy. So are you surprised by that?
My first response is, and then my second one, I guess, would be, look, if the deciders are a significant factor, they're being chosen out as a subgroup because they're in states that matter. They're the sort of people that could swing the election. They are important, that's why they're labeling them deciders. But let's also bear in mind that being in that group means that you are different than most people in a variety of ways. In the article, they go through all the characteristics that make you a decider.
Can I actually go through those characteristics, because it's important for you to know what this demographic represents, who they are. So they voted in only one of the past 2 presidential elections. They are between ages 18 and 25. They registered to vote since 2022. They did not definitely plan to vote for either Biden or Trump this year. They switched their support between 2016 and 2020. Thanks for watching. Our audience has helped build TYT into the media giant it is today. Together, we can accomplish anything. Support our work and join us at tyt.com/team. So those are the characteristics of this subgroup. So that very last bullet point, let's say you voted for Trump in 2016 and then in 2020 you're like, no, screw this, I'm gonna vote for Biden this time around. So that's one of the characteristics of this subgroup that was studied in this poll. But looking beyond the deciders, among all swing state voters surveyed, 44% said the former president would better handle threats to democracy, while 33% said Biden would do the better job. Another 7% said they would do an equal job, while 16% said neither could be trusted on the topic. I have a lot of strong thoughts on this that I don't know, that might be offensive, but I just think, first of all, I think that the Biden camp leaning in heavily on that one message and thinking that that's gonna be enough to win is ridiculous and clearly is not working. This is just another data point to prove that. But the other thing is, the Democratic Party needs to understand that there are consequences among the electorate toward the way they perceive the Democratic Party when they don't give a damn about what their voters want and what their voters are demanding. So when you have 2/3 of Democratic voters saying they want a ceasefire in Gaza and they want Biden to use his leverage to pressure Israel to stop, and Biden ignores them, there are consequences to that. When the Democratic establishment refuses to allow for a primary to even take place during this presidential election, well, you think voters aren't gonna be upset about that?
Well, that's tied to this issue.
That is tied to this issue, exactly right.
Yeah.
So like, look, what Trump did led to a big spectacle that you have a lot of video of, that you can show video of in your ads, as Biden did in the ad that we showed earlier. But I think that the Democrats are discounting how their own constituents are feeling about what they've done to our democratic process.
Yeah, no, 100%. And look, we could point out a variety of ways, and we have ways that Joe Biden has not measured up, not done enough, not spoken out enough on a variety of issues, including issues that touch on democracy, like having an actual primary the way you're supposed to, listening to significant percentage of your base, not like demonizing them, standing by as big corporate money comes in and takes out dissenting voices within your party, and saying nothing with the fact that right-wing billionaires now get to choose which Democrat goes forward. These are issues of democracy, and to point these out does not mean that he's the exact same as Donald Trump. That's not what that means literally at all. But bear in mind, these swing state voters, it's not like they're totally random people who are deciding between the two. There might be some people that think that, their approach to democracy, yeah, Joe Biden might be better, but he's also incompetent, he's not gonna do anything. It doesn't mean that they think that Trump has more of a devotion to democracy. It just might be that they think that he's more proactive or something. And many of the people who are voting for him on that are Republicans that don't even want us to have a democracy, but they're gonna choose Trump in whatever question they interpret as who do you like better or who is more competent. They're gonna go with their guys. So I think that the results are concerning regardless. I don't necessarily have the exact same approach or thought about election strategy as you, because I don't think they're only focusing on democracy, but I think it's one of the 2 or 3 biggest things. And you can focus on that, not necessarily as a way to win over swing state voters like this, although maybe that's their idea, but to motivate your base or to peel off some Republicans who don't like this fascistic turn of the Republican Party. And then maybe you hope that things like abortion or inflation going down or something will get these swing state voters. But I do agree that, regardless of our explanations, that's not what the number should look like.
The other thing I'll just quickly say is, there's been an increase of Republican public figures who have been kind of questioning whether democracy is the best political system, right? There have been arguments that maybe a monarchy makes more sense, which I think is ridiculous. But here's what I want to just say about public opinion about democracy in general. Our democracy in America, thanks to unlimited campaign contributions from the elite, from the rich, thanks to the fact that politicians are less likely to give a damn about what their own constituents think and are more respondent to the desires and the demands of the wealthiest elite in this country, people have been feeling like democracy hasn't been working for them. Okay, in fact, they asked about that in this very poll. Roughly 60% of the deciders group said they are not satisfied at all with how democracy is working in the United States. And so when you have a democracy that leads to a situation in which elected lawmakers don't listen to and carry out the best interests of their own constituents, well then eventually those constituents are gonna be like, what the hell is the point of this whole democracy thing if we don't really feel like we're being listened to?
And Biden's in charge, so if something right now isn't going well, he gets the blame.
Yeah.
And when you live through like a Kirsten Sinema or a Fetterman, like, what the hell are we doing here?
That's a great point. That is a great point.
You're gonna campaign the whole time as one thing, and then you turn around and do the exact opposite thing. There's literally no recourse.
Yeah.
Oh, democracy is a hell of a system, isn't it? And then bear in mind, 1 out of 3 respondents say they want a dictatorship in that poll.
I just want Democrats to also take responsibility for their role in that, because it's not just Republicans, it's also Democrats. If they think they can ignore their base, and then once election time comes around, oh, but you gotta vote for us. Oh, the other guy's super dangerous. You have no choice, you have no choice. We didn't allow for a primary, so you're stuck with the 81-year-old who looks confused on stage all the time. You have no choice. But isn't democracy great? You must vote for him to protect democracy. It's just, Democrats need to take responsibility as well. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, thanks for watching that video. We really appreciate it, guys. And we appreciate it if you become members, because that allows us to be independent, honest, progressive, all the things that you don't get from corporate media. And all of that is because of you guys. Hit the join button below and become one of us. Become a Young Turk.